Good afternoon everyone, welcome to the weekly Purple Penny video. My name's Mark. I own and run the Purple Penny along with my wife Catherine. We're in Mawson Lakes, which is about 15 minutes north of Adelaide, Adelaide being the capital of South Australia. All of our watchers in Australia would know where that is, but if you're not from Australia or you happen to be watching later from somewhere else around the world, Adelaide is in the middle at the bottom of Australia, sorry. So it's quite a warm place here. We are in the first few weeks of autumn and going to get a few hot days as a bit of a summer's last gasp here, but it's a public holiday here today in South Australia. It's a public holiday in a few other states of Australia. Catherine has decided that she's going to work from home today, so well, a little bit of work from home, and I've just come in to do the video, so thank you everyone for joining in today. Last week on Wednesday was hectic, probably just about the busiest day we've ever had in here. I'm not sure why. We did a lot of buying and a lot of selling, and there was quite a lineup of people waiting to come in before opening time. I guess we'd been shut a few days, and I'd like to think that everyone missed us, but I think there was a bunch of people who were keen to get their hands on last week's mint releases. Friday was a lot quieter, as was Saturday, which was fantastic because we got a lot of jobs done. So it's good to have a good mix of busy days and quiet days. Let's have a few hellos to people here. Hello, Gary, Mike, John. Thank you, John, for forwarding a news item, which I'm going to talk about today. Cameron, David, Peter, Tanya, Brett, another Gary, Paul, and Daryl, and Carolyn. Hello everyone, thank you for joining in today. So let's jump into the news. I guess the big news here in Australian coin collecting circles is the releases from the RAM for April. Big news, I guess, because there are a couple of $2 coins this next month. There's a C Mint Mark aluminium bronze coin and a C Mint Mark silver proof coin, which we think is the first time that has happened, a silver mint mark silver proof coin. So we'll just run through that list of items again. You can see them all there. I won't be listing them all off today. The two items of most interest to people are up the top there. We found out what our allocations were this week. The silver C Mint Mark coin is going to be the hard one to get, so I would make preparations to get that from wherever you can, and try and get on people's interest lists or whatever, and hopefully get your hands on one of those. We're not taking any names for that silver proof coin because we just simply got a very small number, and we've got more than enough people's names of people coming in through the front door of the shop who want them. So the other one, of course, is the C Mint Mark aluminium bronze coin, 80,000 mintage of those, $15. The price is still, we got a decent number of those, so we're still taking interest in all those other items you can see on the list there. So that's on Thursday the 6th of April. Please, if you want that silver proof coin, do try and get your name down as many places as possible. Hello, Gloria. Facebook moving the scroll bar again. Gloria, Adam, Patrick, Brandon, Aaron, and Greg and Bevan and Daz. There's a few new watchers today. There's a few people here watching from Adelaide because it's a public holiday here. I think it's a public holiday in Canberra and some other state as well. I'm not sure what other state's got a holiday today. Right, we'll just jump back to the news here. I should just say that there's a couple of things that I didn't cover in the news this week. Firstly, the surge in gold prices, and thank you to whoever in the comments there reminded me of that. Gold has really taken off in the last week and a half, which probably has to do with the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank in the USA, and which of course had a traditional run on cash at that bank, which led to the collapse of that bank and people running towards gold. The other interesting thing that came up in the news this week, and I'm still waiting to digest all the media I can on this, is the Four Corners story on the Perth Mint, which I mentioned briefly last week. I think there is more of that story than meets the eye, and I've got to say I wasn't sort of super impressed by the Four Corners coverage of it and their understanding of how gold is processed and the fineness of it. And I think that the Perth Mint had a pretty good measured response to that story, but I will try to consume all of that media in the next week and talk about it more next week, next Monday, because it is an interesting story. Adam says, any idea if the silver-proof dome would be? No, it's not Adam. It's the Sydney Opera House coin this month. Well, there's two themes of coins this month. There's the 50 years since the end of Australia's involvement in the Vietnam War, and that's the $2 coins. And then all the balance of the coins have got to do with the 50th anniversary of the Sydney Opera House. Peter says, is it a repeat of Vietnam War theme? Repeat of Opera House? We've had repeats of Korean War themes. Are the RAM out of fresh ideas? Peter, I think you're absolutely right. They really do need to keep the wheel turning. The pressure on the RAM as a business is the same on every other business. Revenue has to keep ticking over, profits have to keep growing, and there's no doubt that they are going to keep recycling themes whenever they can. But they're on a high end to nothing. They either recycle the themes or they pick themes that everyone goes, they would celebrate the opening of an envelope. So, that's about all I can say about that. That is positive. Hello Petra. Hello Kevin. Hello Alison. And yeah, Brandon says that the RAM needs some new blood for sure. And Mike Ellery is pushing for the Kate Bush coin. Mike has mentioned that several times in these videos and in the comments. So if you're listening out there, someone from the Royal Australian Mint, we want a Kate Bush coin. Well, at least me and Mike do, at least. I'm not sure about everyone else. Now, I'll do these things out of order today. I did post up something from our local bank where we do our banking. They put a sign up on their window saying that they wouldn't be doing cash exchanges over the counter for coin over $50 anymore. And that sort of follows the path that a lot of banks are taking now to perhaps address coin noodling, people who are noodling through tens of thousands of coins a week and putting pressure on cash handling system at the banks. Our local bank doesn't have a roll machine. It does have a change machine. It doesn't have a roll machine, but clearly they are unhappy with the number of coins that they are dispensing over the counter, and they have put the kibosh on that. Now, as I said in that post, I find that to be at the bank's discretion. They are a business after all, and if people who are noodling for profit, and many of these people are trying to noodle for profit, if they are noodling for profit, then it's not unreasonable that the banks restrict that service, that cash handling service, because of course the banks are a for-profit business too. Now, I should just say, because someone did say something to me in the comments on that thread that I am supporting the banks. Well, I guess in that case I am, but I don't always support the banks. I am not a fan of them pushing for the less use of cash and injecting themselves into every transaction and skimming a percentage off of that. But I do understand why the banks have done that, and I think that will only become more and more common. Now, if you are noodling for profit, you can of course do a regular order with the bank and they will get change in for you. But of course that requires you to build a relationship for them and maybe have a business account. You can also do the same with security companies, but of course there is a cost involved. So if you are noodling for profit, it's not unreasonable for you to have to incur cost yourself, as does everyone else that's trying to make a profit for things. And I don't really think that you can complain too much if the banks decide they don't want to do it anymore, because there's really nothing in it for them. The big coin news that I saw this week was the arrest of the founder of Roman Numismatics. Roman Numismatics is a ancient coin dealer that was started in London in about 2008 or 2009, and they were just about the biggest ancient coin dealer in the world, perhaps behind CNG. Their founder was arrested in New York in January, and the reason behind that arrest was that he was suspected of fabricating provenance for a coin that had sold recently for several million US dollars. Those of you who don't know what provenance is the tracing of ownership of a coin back through time. Provenance is often seen to add value to a coin and then also add an air of authenticity to the coin. If you can trace the provenance of a coin back several hundred years, then it is more likely that the coin is real. It also adds to the value because people can look back at it and see the quality of the people that have owned that coin previously. So the coin that is in question here is quite a famous one, and it's quite apt coming up to the 15th of March that we talk about this coin. It's that gold coin at the top there. It's a Roman Eid coin. Eid means the Ides of March, which is the 15th of March, which is the day after tomorrow. This is probably, the Eid coin is probably the most famous ancient Roman coin in the world. There's only 3 of the gold coins known, and this is the 3rd one. This one was obtained sometime in 2012 or 2013. And sold in 2020 for several million US dollars. In the same auction, that coin just below there sold for $200,000 or $300,000. Now, interestingly, both of those coins were sourced by the same person who then on-sold them or obtained them for Roman numismatics. And interestingly, that gentleman who was sourcing coins for Roman numismatics was arrested in the USA last year with a pocket full of coins that had been obtained illegally from countries in and around the Mediterranean Sea. So it's important here to understand that many of the countries in and around the Mediterranean Ocean Sea, such as Italy, Spain, Greece, Turkey, Lebanon, they actually control the sale of coins that are found in that country. The challenge is, of course, is that people find coins in those countries and they want to get them out of the country and sell them to deep-pocketed collectors that aren't there. So how do you perhaps disguise the fact that a coin has been obtained unethically? You create a provenance for it. So the owner of Roman numismatics has now admitted to creating a fake provenance for the coin above there. To paying people to sign off on the provenance that was provided for this coin when it was auctioned. Interestingly, both the coins shown there, the tetradrachm below and the aureus at the top there, they were both attributed to the Baron Dominique de Chambrières, who is supposedly a Swiss coin collector from the 19th century. Supposedly both of these came from his collection. And I have since found out that in ancient coin speak, if an ancient coin is attributed to an old Swiss collection, that is ancient coin speak for it was probably stolen from a country who actually owns it. Now, if you want to get more into this sort of thing, there's a wonderful documentary on YouTube about some Palestinian fishermen who found a hoard of 15 silver tetradrachms in the coast just off of Palestine. They took those to the land there and sold them to a coin dealer for $150 for all 15 coins, and those coins have been on sold now for over $100,000 each. Palestine is one of those countries that controls its antiquities, and those coins, they're called the Palestinian hoard, are out there in the market now, and of course the chances of getting them back are zero. So really interesting and very scandalous thing going on in the ancient coin collecting world. The gentleman who's in charge of Roman numismatics, think of him in ancient coin terms as being the owner of, I'm not saying that these companies in Australia do anything wrong, but perhaps Noble Numismatics or things like that. This is a big wig in the ancient coin collecting world who has been arrested and admitted to fraud for creating fake provenances on coins. Really amazing story. Really amazing story. Right, go back to the last couple of news items here. We'll go to Tooth Fairy watches. 2023 Tooth Fairy, of course, unlimited mintage. More of them will be available later in the year, but they are selling just by my quick scan down eBay results this morning for somewhere between $35, $45, $50. So people are chasing them and paying over release price for them for some reason. Please don't do that. There will be more later in the year. And thank you to Greg Gibbons for forwarding me a story about a metal detectorist in the Netherlands who found a hoard of silver coins and gold jewellery dating from about 1200 to 1250 AD. So he found 4 earrings there, ear pendants. You can see one of those at the top left there. Some strips of gold foil and about 40 silver hammered coins dating from the 12th and 13th century. They've dated the hoard basically on the dates from the coins themselves, so pretty remarkable find. I spent quite a bit of time looking at that image there of all the hammered coins, trying to identify some of them. Failed miserably. I do like these presentations to have some numismatic aspect to them, but unfortunately I failed at trying to work out what any of those coins were. Anyone out there who's smarter than me, please Google up that news story and see if you can work out what coins they are. Right, last week, if you watched last week, and I hope you did watch last week, you would have known that I shared some errors with you that came from a small group of errors that we bought a couple of weeks ago now. Wonderful errors, amazing errors, probably the best quality group of errors that we've ever managed to purchase, and there was a very small number of them, but the quality was fantastic. So I thought I would just share the rest of those with you, and I will address all these other questions here in the comments once I've finished talking about these. So the first one is this 20-cent piece here. It's a 1998 20-cent piece struck on a 8 point, here's the coin just here if you're looking for it, struck on a 8.24 gram planchet. Our X-ray gun tested at 97% copper, 2.7% zinc and 0.3% tin, which is consistent with just regular bronze that is used for coins here in Australia. Unfortunately, the host blank is unknown. I've spent a bit of time doing some searching, looking for coins that of the same date, era and composition and size. Haven't found anything. The next step for us is to find the Mint annual reports for 1998, 1997, 1999, see if they were striking any medals or medallions or things like that might have, those blanks might have been contaminated, and that was how this coin was made. It doesn't have PVC on it, Peter, but it has been in PVC, which is why it's gone that odd colour. It really doesn't look bronze, and when it came in I didn't think it was bronze. I thought it was something else, but it is definitely bronze, but the colour is a bit odd and the surfaces are consistent with it having been in PVC for quite a long time. Really interesting error. What's it worth? Not as much as what it'd be if we knew what it was struck on. It is, I will quite happily say that if you can identify what a wrong planchet error was struck on, then you probably double or triple its value. So in this case, it's, at the moment, it is just a 1998 20-cent piece struck on an unknown 8.24 gram bronze planchet. Next item here is a really interesting one that I've seen this coin in auction catalogues before, but it's the first time that we've ever handled it. It's a 1976 silver proof 1 cent piece, which, if you cast your mind back to the Renix catalogue, you would know that the RAM didn't make any decimal silver proofs in this era. I would be, other than the 1966 50-cent piece proof, I'd be quite happy for someone to tell me when the first time the Mint did a silver proof. Probably, let me think, probably the 1988 $2 silver proof or the 1988 masterpieces in silver. When did they start making the silver $10 coins? I'm not sure what the first year of those was, but they certainly weren't making them in 1976. But if you do go and have a look at the Royal Australian Mint annual reports, you'll find out that they were making silver proof sets for Fiji. They made 3012 silver proof sets for Fiji, and the weight and composition of this coin matches the silver 1 cent piece that was struck for the Fiji silver proof set for that year. How did this happen? I would say that it is almost certainly what's called mint sport, which is that someone has deliberately grabbed one of those silver blanks and struck this coin and then removed it from the premises. That would be my guess about what has happened. Security in the 1970s wasn't as strong as it is now. I can't think of any combination of circumstances where this happened by accident, because of course proofs are hand struck, and the proof 1 cent piece from 1976 was bronze, and anyone who was striking those coins would know the difference between a silver and a bronze coin. This one is graded by PCGS as PR61. It's one of 2 known, and the last time this sold, I believe it sold for about $3,000 or $4,000. So pretty remarkable piece of 1970s mint sport, one of 2 known, and really cool error to own. It's great that it's in a PCGS slab, because these sorts of things are always, I think, more desirable when a company like PCGS has authenticated them. And yeah, so keep an eye on our website for that. That'll appear at some point in the coming weeks. The last error here is an error of a different type, and if you've been in and around coin collecting for a little while, you would know of the origin of this coin. It's a 2014 Terra Australis C Mint Mark coin. The story behind these coins, and I've only read this on forums and Facebook and things like that, but there's nothing to make me think it didn't happen this way. These were all struck at the Gallery Press in Canberra. Those of you who haven't been to the Mint in Canberra, you can go in there, and there's 2 presses that you can strike coins on, the yearly Mint Mark coin. And whoever was on the coin press this day had a bit of a happy luck, and the press was malfunctioning. And as a consequence, they were sitting there putting their $3 in for their Mint Mark coin, and the press was striking them multiple times and then spitting them out. Now, I like to think that the person was stood there for quite a while, putting dollar coins in until the press completely seized up, and they grabbed their multiple struck Terra Australis coins and did a runner, and I wouldn't blame them. That's what I would do as well. So there's a few of these. Like how many, I don't know, but I've seen several, and I've seen them struck any number from 2 times up to 8 times, and I'm happy to be corrected on that number of 8. Peter Andrews is commenting there. He would probably know. This one has been struck 3 times in the collar. It's been graded by PCGS as MS66, and it's a pretty remarkable error that is almost certainly due to a machinery malfunction in the gallery press at the Royal Australian Mint. So this is a real error that snuck out of one of their machines. I believe most of these were originally graded by NGC, but this one I think has been crossed to PCGS. So yeah, pretty remarkable error there, and there are a few of them around. The only other ones on the market at the moment are obtainable at a ridiculous price. If you look on eBay, you'll find one on eBay with a massive number on it. Right, so that's the last of that group of errors, and I did enjoy buying them, and I've really enjoyed looking through them as well. So thank you to the gentleman who sold them to us. It was a great opportunity for us. Right, let's have a look back through the comments here. Hello, Kristala. Hello, Rhinolin. It's good to see you joining us again. Brandon says, I wonder if they'll be talking about the 2022 Red Poppy $2 coins in 2,000 years. Rhetorical question. No, I don't think they will. I think the chances of an aluminium bronze coin still being existent in 2,000 years, unless it's buried in a polypropylene page here, is almost zero. So no, I don't think they will be. Monica says, thank you for the great episode. That's all right, Monica. Thank you for joining us today. Brandon says, it would have been easier to take sport coins home in the 1970s. Yes, it was. certainly the Mint didn't care that much about it, from what I understand, and error coins and old dies and things like that just ended up in scrap buckets. Now, I'm not saying that people stole them. From what I understand, you could have just taken them out of scrap buckets and things like that. But certainly that seems to be the era of mint sport, is the 1970s. Of course, except for perhaps the double-headed 2007 5-cent piece. But of course, the gentleman that did that deliberately is being prosecuted by the Ram. So they are much more on top of it these days. Hello, Philip. Brandon says, how many times could you strike them? Now, that's an interesting question, Brandon. You're talking about the Terra Australis coin there. I'm not sure if the machine struck them multiple times when you put the money in, or if every time you put the money in, it struck the coin again. That's a great question. It's a great question. It kind of makes sense that it was the coin feed mechanism that was broken down and it got stuck in the machine, and you just kept putting money in and whacking it until the feed actually got the coin out to you. Peter says that he remembers about the Australis coins being struck, and it was on January the 1st, and that there was a number of them. Mark says that 1 cent is a bit like the broad strike out of collar 50-cent piece, a bit mint sport. Yeah, it's definitely mint sport. And he says, can you please do a link to the YouTube video you mentioned? Yeah, so that's the Palestinian coins. I will put that in the comments once I've finished here. And John says 2014 $1 Terra Australis struck 8 times MS65. That's the one that I thought of, John. And Sandy says still waiting for a new commemorative circulating 50 cent. I'm sure there'll be another one, Sandy. Right, that's it for this today. Now, because it is just me here today, I can't manage the dog, but if you've been into the shop for the last few weeks, you would have met Steffi, who is just, I'm not going to move the camera, she's just down there on the floor. Steffi is was a trainee assistance dog. She joined us at the end of January, and unfortunately she has not been found to be suitable for her role. So Steffi's going back to live with the people who raised her as a little puppy. So if you have seen Steffi here in the shop in the last few weeks, and you're coming in this week, please make sure to say hello to her and goodbye to her, because she is leaving us this Friday. So she's a beautiful dog and she'll be sadly missed, but she's going on to a wonderful life. And if you're coming in next week or the week after, next, do keep your eye out for a new dog, because we're getting another one. I do try to keep you up to date with the dogs that pass through our hands, because there are a lot of them. So good luck to Steffi down there. As I said, I'm not going to move the camera. If Catherine was here, she'd probably come and pick her up and show her to you. That's it for this week. Happy collecting. If you're having a public holiday today, enjoy the rest of your day off. As always, we are looking for things to talk about with these videos. Next week is going to be a Q&A. I know I said last week was going to be a Q&A, but there was too much going on in the coin world this week. Question and answer. So please, if you've got any questions, send me an email, send me a Facebook message, give me a phone call, or whatever way you like, and I'll address them next week. I will pop a post up on our Facebook page this week just prompting you for questions, so please put them in the comments there, and we'll see you next week. Thanks everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy collecting, and bye for now.